Good morning, guys. If you can hear in by the sound of my voice, I have been sick. That's why I have not made any videos. I actually sound a little better than I had the past few days. It went from Niall, my youngest daughter, and then it caught my middle daughter, and then the last day, which was Friday, myself and my oldest daughter kind of got this congestion going on. I feel much better than I did all the other days. It's kind of getting better today. So I'm hopping on here because we are now officially 8 weeks from our last frost date here in coastal South Carolina, zone 8B. We're about an hour from Charleston. I'm estimating my last frost date as April 2nd, but according to the USDA, it's March 27th, which actually would be about 7 weeks away. So with that being said, there's lots of updates that I want to show you guys. The major update is I did take a little bit of clips yesterday. I up-potted all of my peppers. So these are all of the peppers that I up-potted. I did 2 trays and I left 1 tray because it wasn't full. It wasn't a full tray of peppers, and so I left it inside of my hoop house. One, as an experiment to see if I could leave the peppers inside the hoop house without having to add another light. I do have other lights that I can put on this shelf, but I would have to like do some rearranging because I have some stuff. I would have to move all of this stuff down here, and I didn't feel like doing that. And for the next about 2 weeks, it's gonna be in the upper 70s, and at the lows it's gonna be like in the 50s and stuff but yesterday was the only day that it was gonna drop down to 32. So I was taking a chance and left my peppers inside the hoop house. It was only about like 10 of them, and I did go ahead and take a chance on that just because I know I had peppers in there that were growing and doing fine all the way until it got down to 15 degrees is when they died back. So I figured that they would be fine, but we can go out there and check on them. So these are the first peppers that I planted about a month ago. So these peppers are a month old, but I also do have some peppers that I planted 2 weeks ago, and they're back here. These are the ones I planted with you guys, and I showed you how I put about 10 peppers in each tray, and right here you can see that 7 of them have sprouted, and so I am gonna have to go ahead and get these up potted, but we do have some like towards the back that haven't germinated yet. They are sitting on a heat mat, and like right here you can see only 3 so far of this California Wonder, but these were older seeds, so I did put a lot, and then we still have some popping up. So I'm gonna leave them for about another week before I start separating these. Another thing I did last night while everyone was asleep was, it was dark in the hoop house, but I did get these filled up and planted some tomatoes. These are Roma tomatoes and determinate tomato varieties, I believe. And then I think I did even end up planting, yeah, because that's a triple crop. These are some slices as well. These are all the tomatoes that I still need to plant. I have down for on my 8-week plan to plant tomatoes, basils, zinnias, sunflowers. Winter, you coming? Winter is actually supposed to give birth this coming week between, let's say, Sunday and Tuesday. We brought her to the vet a couple of days, well, actually that was yesterday, and so she's very pregnant. But let's go inside the hoop house and I'll show you. We'll check on those peppers I left in here. Where did I leave them? I do not see where I left. Oh, they're right here. Okay, so you can see that they are definitely still alive. some of them were smaller than others, but I went ahead and separated them because I was getting them all out the tray. And this one I didn't even go ahead and separate, even though there was 2 in there. And then all of these are the brassicas I started. And then these are some beets and rutabagas. None of these purple kohlrabi germinated, but the white kohlrabi, the rutabagas, have beets. And I'm gonna transplant all of those. And these are all flowers. And more flowers, but this is a snapdragon. And then up there, some more flowers. I just realized I called this a snapdragon and I totally meant bachelor button. So I do have some more trays in here that I can use to start tomatoes in this year. I'm doing something a little different. Previous years when I up-potted stuff, like you've seen me when I just showed you that I up-potted the peppers, I've mostly up-potted in these individual trays. And I have a bunch of them sitting right there. But I can actually fit, if I use the 6-pack like I have right here, I can actually fit 36 in a flat. And if I use these, I can only fit 32. And so I decided that I would go ahead and this year use the 6-packs if at all possible. And so that's what I'm doing. That's a little different. And I'm also starting my tomatoes in, usually I go ahead and start them in stuff like this, like I started my peppers in these individual ones. But this year I'm going ahead and using these bigger containers and just putting like about the tomatoes that I already started last night. I put 6 seeds in one cell, and then when they germinate I'll go ahead and separate them. Usually I just plant like 1 seed in each cell and then I just go ahead and up pot those. So I'm doing that a little differently this year as well, kind of like what I did with the second round of peppers, where I just planted about like 10 in this cell. I'm gonna go ahead and separate, but I put way less, and these are bigger containers, and so we shall see if I like that way better. I don't know what I was thinking last night with planting 6 tomato seeds of each variety, because I know I only want about 1 or 2, and I know I have some people that will want some, but they probably would only want 1 or 2 as well. So hopefully all of those don't germinate and I won't have to pot all of those tomatoes, because I definitely won't have any room for them. I wanted to bring you out here and show you how well the onions are doing that we planted together. I think they're gonna do really, really well. You can see that they've already grown green and they're standing up really, really nicely. Some other updates is we went ahead and started adding cattle panels. So I burnt holes and I ended up burning too much right here, but that's fine. I'll plant the tomato there. But we added our first cattle panel here, and then we did go ahead and add in all of the hoop. So I have 3 arches here, I have 2 here, and then I have 3 here. So all of my arch trellises are all done. This one, for the past 2 years, I've planted green beans, pole beans, and so I'm going to continue to plant pole beans there. And then I also plant stuff like cucumbers, trombonzino squashes, watermelon, stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be my spicy pepper bed, because it was my spicy pepper bed in previous years, and so I'm going to continue to put peppers. And you can see that this is, when I planted here, it was this little tiny spot that took up this much, but now you can see this has taken over. It's a ground cover and it's even spreading that way. So we might have to trim some of this back, but we'll see based on how many peppers we have. and I haven't started burning holes in these, but I did start burning holes in here. And so this spot is gonna be a little differently. Originally I was only planning on putting one cattle panel at the beginning of each bed and having all 5 of these beds with tomatoes, but now I decided that I'm going to put a cattle panel at the beginning and a cattle panel at the end of each bed. So it'll be double cattle panels, and down the middle of this bed, or probably all of them, I'm gonna plant stuff like marigolds, basil, stuff that I can interplant that I know is good for bugs. And the reason why I'm thinking about doing that is because as I was going over my plan, I was looking at it, and I want to keep these, I want to plant or burn as little holes as possible. And so I figured this way I can utilize this space. It would have about, since these beds are 3 feet wide, it will have a good enough space in between, and then in the middle I don't need to, if I plant marigolds and basils and stuff like that, that's stuff that I don't need to necessarily get in here once it's planted and prune or do anything with. So that's the idea. I'll see if I like it. We didn't start adding the other cattle panels even though I burnt holes, and I didn't video that because it was just a day that my son and I came out here. I wasn't feeling too well and we just went ahead and did it. But I didn't start putting up the other cattle panels because all the other cattle panels are holding down this plastic, and since I don't absolutely need to move these cattle panels yet because I still want the sun to kill all of the weeds growing in this bed, I decided to that if anything, we'll go ahead and burn or put the T-post, since I've already started burning holes, we'll put the T-post inside the ground, but we won't start adding the cattle panels until I absolutely need to, when I need to move those cattle panels from that bed, because right now it's holding down the plastic. It's getting a little windy, so I'm about to go back inside of the hoop house and finish talking to you guys. So I went ahead and snapped off 18 of these. Oh my goodness, Shadow's gonna be all in the business. And I'm gonna put them, this tray is broken, but I don't really need it to be sturdy. I just need it to sit these trays to transplant and to be able to fill them with soil and move them all at the same time. I probably am going to need to make, so this is what I mean. So this is 36, and I'm going to be putting 1 tag in each hole and planting probably about, I would say 4 seeds. I think I'm gonna try 4 seeds in each one, because some of my seeds are a little older than other ones. Some of them are from 2017, and I want to go ahead and plant a little bit extra, even though I only need 1 or 2. So I'm going to plant 4, so that way even if I have a 50% germination rate, then I'll get the 2 that I wanted. And so that will be 36 individual tomato plants, and I need 3 trays. It is, whew, it's about, I think today's supposed to be in the upper 50s or 60s. The sun is out, but since I'm still not like 100%, I do feel a little chilly. So if I start coughing, I apologize. I'll try and cut it out. Oops, this is stuck together. I bought these 6-pack trays a lot of years ago when I thought that I was going to be selling plant starts as like 6 packs, and I didn't get the chance to, so I still have a lot of them, and so that's why I'm trying to go ahead and use them this year. So I don't imagine they'll last much longer than a couple uses, although some of them I do have and I've used previous years. My battery's about to die, so I'm gonna go ahead and change my battery and finish filling these, and then we'll be back. For me, the absolute part that I don't like of planting a bunch of varieties of anything has to be writing tags for it. So this morning I went ahead and wrote tags for all the different tomatoes, and I have them separated in, these are small tomatoes, smallish tomatoes, so like salad tomatoes. I have cherry tomatoes, and then I think these are, what are they called? Beefsteak tomatoes, and these are the ones that I already planted of beefsteak tomatoes yesterday, and these are the ones that I still need to go ahead and plant. And then the only other tomatoes that I plan on planting are dwarf tomatoes, but I'm gonna probably do a whole separate video on that because there's I have about 50 different dwarf tomato varieties, and I've never talked about that before. But this year I'm dedicating the whole in-ground garden that I usually plant cherry tomatoes the last 2 years. I'm gonna plant that all with dwarf tomatoes and see how I like them. A lot of them, when I were looking up, they don't have pictures, so I can't really, like, I could just tell you the names, but you wouldn't be able to see the pictures unless like you googled it, and that's what I had to do yesterday because a lot of them I forgot like why I bought them. But some of them, as I was reading, are bred for like a smaller variety of like what's that purple tomato, like a it's losing me, oh, like a Paul Robeson or a Cherokee Purple, stuff like that, but in a smaller version. There are lots of tomatoes that kind of remind me of the Berkeley tie-dye, but on a smaller tomato. So when you think dwarf tomato, they are, most of them are between 3 to 4 feet, but I do have some of them that are about 12 inches, 18 inches, 2 feet, 2.5 feet, stuff like that. So that's not this video. I just got a little carried away. But see, like this one, these were the first seeds that I ever ordered that were heirloom seeds, and it was from Mary's Heirloom Seeds, and I ordered this in 2017. And I know that there's only a few seeds in here, and so stuff like this, yeah, there's like 5 seeds in here. I would just go ahead and plant all 6 of these, just because they're older seeds. And I'll probably write down like keep notes of all of the seeds that I planted my last, and then try to like save seeds from them. That's my plan. We shall see if that happens. So I'm interested, since I haven't seen you guys for a week, and I know I'm at 7, 8 weeks from my last frost date. Where are you guys at? Where are you guys at with your last frost date? Is it time to plant peppers where you guys live at? When do you guys plan on starting anything? I have some commitments coming up at the end of February, or about a week from the end of February. So that's why I've been working really, really hard to try and get the garden set, because I know once I get, I have really hard time transitioning between things and time management. And so once I get in the habit of something, it's really hard for me to like change gear and like do something for a little bit of time. And so this year I'm trying to really be better about that and just use the downtime that I would have now, because I don't technically have to put up all those cattle panels now, and I don't have to do all those things. Winter, you gonna come in here? You come in here? Oh yeah, he was just checking on us. So I don't technically have to do all those things now, but with doing them now, it's saving me time for when spring comes. All of those cattle panels will be already up, and I don't have to worry about or stress about putting them up later, because last year I did wait to put up some of those cattle panels, like the in-ground middle one, and I just didn't even end up putting it up. So that is why I'm getting all this stuff down now. I know this is a quick video because I was just checking on you guys now that I feel a little better. I wanted to show you guys the updates that we've done with potting the peppers, starting some tomatoes, and putting up all the cattle panels and stuff. Hopefully I'll feel better next time you see me. 100% better, or at least better than I do now. My girls are helping me fill up these pots, and then we'll get them planted, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye.